Hello, friends, and welcome to Binge O'Clock, the podcast where we watch something and then we talk about it. I'm Joy Selden, and I've seen almost everything.
I'm Danielle, and I've seen almost nothing.
Hi, I'm Jill Friedman, and everything that I have seen has been taken out of my brain by a flashy gun thing.
I was waiting to see what direction you were going to go in, and I was like, this could go in so many directions, given like how wild these 3 episodes were.
Absolutely. All over the place.
Like everything I have seen has been brought on by a mixture of love potions.
This run of episodes really is just so great. Mm-hmm. And it also contains my favorite line read in the entire show. And when we get to it, I'll point it out.
Okay, I was like, are you gonna share it now or no in the moment?
No, I'm teasing the audience so they keep listening so they get to hear what my favorite line read is. Because I know they care so much.
So much. That's why they're here.
But yes, friends, we're here to talk about Gravity Falls Season 2, Episodes 7 through 9. I really like these episodes. They have so many, they push along the plot, but they also just have so much heart. And they're also wacky shenanigans. They've got everything. They've got everything for the whole family. Fun for the whole family. Highly recommend.
They do a really good job of being very character-centered, but also fast-paced. Mm-hmm. Which is not usually a combo you get. So that's nice.
Very true. Yeah.
The first thing I wrote for episode 7 was, who's your favorite side character and why is it Lazy Susan? For the Society of the Blind Eye. I don't know, man. I felt really seen watching her clean up and close out the diner.
I mean, Hoops Amongst Us doesn't feel seen by Jennifer Coolidge in one of her more deranged roles, which is truly saying something.
Right? Seriously.
Yeah.
But I love her like shooing out the possums and also Old Man McGucket.
Shoot possum, shoot McGucket.
Good night, little men, eating my pie. What? Gold.
We just keep seeing the little gnomes and I like it.
Mm-hmm. Never go away, little gnomes. And now this season wouldn't be complete without Dipper's murder board. Like, of course we were going to get a murder board. Frankly, I'm shocked it took us this long.
Right?
I also really like that we get the murder board and then as we find out from this episode, because the implied that laptop was McGucket's, it's so easy for him to just pull on a few threads and suddenly everything points at McGucket, like a true murder board where you don't actually have any clues and you can just kind of make it up as you go. Like,
there's an amazing piece of meta trivia about this, actually, about murder board specifically. So there was a picture that showed up on like Reddit, and it's a screenshot of McGucket writing the journal, and we don't know where it came from.
Interesting.
Actually, we do know where it came from. It was a plant by Alex Hirsch.
Oh,
wait, but it's actually on the murder board?
Well, no, it's I'll paste it in the chat, but there's this amazing picture where it's like clearly in like the Disney offices, and they're like on the wall projected is a piece of animation that is McGucket writing in the journal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Wait, when was that dropped? Was that the sort of thing where like he was teasing the viewers?
It came out it came out before this episode dropped.
Oh.
So it was sort of like intended as a spoiler or like some kind of secret leak.
There was a McGucket all along.
Yes.
He's such a good troll.
He really is.
But like in the episode we find out that he hasn't written the journal. I thought that was the whole point that we found out in this episode.
Yes, right. That was the whole point, that he was the assistant to the researcher who wrote the journal.
So Hirsch was just trolling.
Yeah.
Definitely
Hirsch was totally just trolling. But like to like masterfully and committing to the bit to the point of like making the animation sell. Which since it was, like 2013, it was probably like in Flash or something. So it's not that. It's not like, pen and ink were involved.
Either doing fan art of his own show or it was a previous cut that they just decided to get rid of.
No, he straight up did it as a troll. People, because like the fans, because Gravity Falls fans are like Futurama fans. Like if you show them a code, they'll have it cracked in an hour.
I love that.
So he was like, people are getting too close to the truth.
Uh-huh.
And posted this picture of McGucket.
Wait, so prior to this episode, how many people had put the pieces together and sort of figured out that all signs point to McGucket?
Genuinely don't know because I was not in the fandom yet.
Oh, right. I'm just so curious. Well, like, what would it have been like to like see the discourse? The clues were there all along. Like, it's not like we had never seen McGucket's hand before. Like, I genuinely can't remember whether we've ever heard McGucket's first name before. So, like, is the fact that his first name starts with an F new? I can't remember. But we've seen his hand. And so that strikes me as the sort of thing that, like, someone online would have screenshot and been like, this character has 6 fingers. Right? I don't know.
I mean, I do like, it's a very classic storytelling technique to have something like have a character basically play the fool and someone who's an idiot, but actually knows way more than everyone else. Like that's classic story. That goes back to Shakespeare times, like, and before that. Real commedia dell'arte vibes.
Yeah.
And I feel like the fandom like latched onto that. They were just like, what if he's behind it? And what if he's behind all of it? I love that. I love that he trolls his fans.
Because like people on Reddit were getting, I don't know if they were getting too close to the truth or like he just wanted to mess around with them, but
sure. Well, so this episode is actually, I mean, yes, it's about McGucket, but it's also about why no one in the town really clues into what is happening.
Yeah.
Which is there's this secret society of people who erase memories. Mm-hmm. And also, I know this has nothing to do with the plot. I'm just really excited to see Wendy as part of the Scooby Gang now. I'm like, I'm here for it. But like, I love that. I actually kind of am a little sad that we get this idea from like the Mermondo moment and having a sad moment for Mabel because she gets the Mermondo message and that's how she sees it. Mm-hmm. And there's just something about that. That's just it's so sad, but also so sweet in a weird way. And she's having a moment where she's just like, maybe I shouldn't fall in love with boys. It sucks. Just keep having my heart broken. And I love the reminder of like, hey, remember the plot we're supposed to have? She's supposed to find summer love and Dipper's supposed to to figure out all this mystery.
I do enjoy though how supportive Wendy is of Mabel when the two of them finally do have their little like their little chat where Mabel tries out her opening line on Wendy and Wendy's like, it's perfect. Boys are just dumb, basically.
Like it was so good.
I have a question for the two of you.
Okay.
Yeah. The first one is not a question, but more like just a statement of how great is Wendy's drag king.
Oh, God.
In like
Goals,
4
honestly.
seconds. 4 seconds, suddenly she's a dude and saying, I was just like 10-10, no notes.
I know, her little mustache with her hair. So good.
That's the sort of thing where like at least one or both of the twins are like, that awoken something in me. I don't know.
I'm having feelings. Which thing that Mabel lists would have been the got you for you? Would have made you say yes to Mabel? Is it she hugs a lot? Is it that she has scratch and sniff clothing? Or is it that she can burp the alphabet? Which one? Which one does it for you?
I think for me, it's the pet pig.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's Waddles. But for me, I feel like it's just like, I had a friend that could like burp the alphabet, and I'm like, I see you. I feel like I would have hung out with you for sure.
Pretty solid.
I just love that those are the three things that she's
sweaters.
like, that's fair. I just like that these are the three things she lists of like, why can't I get boys? Like, these things obviously are things boys want. Is it the sweater? Is it the fact that the sweaters are cute, or is it the fact that they're scratch and sniff, which is something we learn in this episode?
I mean, are they all scratch and sniff?
I'm fascinated by
not.
that concept. Like, also horrified, but kind of but fascinated.
I mean, all that's telling me is that she always smells good and is like comfortable to hug. What's not to like?
I completely agree. I also really liked McSucket. I thought that was pretty good.
McSucket, the McSucket graffiti.
That was
Yeah.
both very sad and very funny at the same
I
time.
know. I was like, I don't know whether to laugh at this. When the teens were
I
like,
think I
it only
only
took us an
laughed-
hour.
It only took us an hour to think of this. I only laughed after McGucket was like, oh, they got me. They got me good. But yeah, so they find this club, society, secret society.
Society of the Blind
and
Eye.
it has real disenchantment vibes. Except the disenchantment cult is like, we keep our own our magical secrets, but also we bone down.
Right.
Like, we also have orgies, which I thought was very funny when one of them was like, all I'm wearing under my robe is underwear. What? Don't judge me. And I was just like, yeah, no. Very eternal sunshine of the spotless mind.
Yes, very that.
Takeaway. Which, by the way, is a really great movie, but don't watch it if you have any level of PTSD from a breakup, because it will destroy you.
Yeah. Pretty great movie. Well, so what do we think about the Society of the Blind Eye? I sort of love this explanation for why no one in the town has figured out they live in a town that is chock full of monsters and creatures and magic.
Yeah, it makes sense, because you're like, well, why wouldn't they have said anything before now?
Right. Exactly. Like, how has no one figured this out?
Yeah, and there's always a reason in a place that has things that go down like Gravity Falls. Like, there's always the town just likes to keep secrets. Nobody admits it. Or, people will accept reality a lot faster than they will something supernatural. Like, the brain just can't handle it. Which is what it was in Buffy, which is still the funniest thing to me, where I'm just like, I'm sorry. You just, like, are you giving me some, like, psychology 101 of just, like, your town is just, like, I can't handle vampires, lol. I'm just gonna, like, disassociate for, like, 20 minutes.
I'm just gonna put my hands over my eyes like this. But also on some level, like, everyone knows that their town is over a hellhole. It's
like the closing line of Lost Boys. This town would be great if it weren't for the vampires.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, quick Buffy tangent, because this is the Buffy tangent for this episode. We have to have one every 4 or 5 episodes of Bach Pod.
Now entering the Buffy corner.
One of my favorite things is during prom, when they have that class protector award.
The umbrella.
I think about that way more than I should.
Me too.
I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
And number one, it's such a great moment. Number two, I really appreciate that she gets the kind of recognition that she probably never ever will, because she obviously can't, because she needs to keep her identity a secret, blah 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 blah. But I love that the kids are we understand something's weird in our town, but you seem to have your stuff together, and we know if we are really in trouble, we can find you. Yeah. And I'm just I just wonder what all the adults are just I don't know, man. Weird. must be Tuesday,
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like
just
that's
real.
extra special given like the backstory of Buffy Summers being like this troubled kid who moved around a lot, never really had a stable place to live, or I guess never lived in the same place for long enough to really, put down roots. So for her to
like
get
to make those connections to actually,
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and it's glossed over in the show, right? Like, you don't really get, like, you understand what she's going through, but they don't harp on it a lot. So you kind of forget about it because she's also, still has the air of popular girl and being aloof, when it's like, no, actually, that's just because she literally can't meet and make friends because she's probably going to move again in another 6 months to a year. Like people forget that a lot because it's really easy to just be like, oh, but she's just an airhead, insert blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I really liked it. And there was a part of me that was just like, look at the kids actually acknowledging that their town is kind of crazy, because nobody does that in this show because the brain. But like,
the brain.
I love that Gravity Falls has like a concrete reason. They're like, no, there is no Warren Bossing say. Like,
Now, the concrete reason goes away at the end of this episode. So unclear on what's going to happen moving forward, having not seen this show. But I'm like, but now there
does
is
Toot
no
Toot come
more.
back? Jill, does Toot Toot come back? I can't remember.
Wait, does what?
Toot Toot, the banjo playing.
I
folk
don't
singer?
remember, actually. By the way, did we all clock that was Peter Serafinowicz?
No.
The name, the voice sounded familiar, but I don't recognize him from anything else.
You've seen him in a bunch of different things. He's kind of that guy. I most best remember him recently as the live action version of The Tick.
Oh,
That was on, I think it was like on
saw
Netflix or Amazon.
As which character?
The Tick.
Oh,
I shall Google his face.
yeah. He's sort of like John Hamm if John Hamm played more superheroes.
Yeah, basically. He's got that same energy of like this sort of like good looking guy, who's got this very, very mellifluous voice, who then plays the most unhinged characters you'll ever come across.
You know what? I do know this guy's face. What have I seen him in? Unclear.
I'm just pleased that you recognize him. No, yeah, I recognize the voice, like I clocked it, but I couldn't actually place it. No, but that's super cool.
Okay, I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, but I do not remember who he is in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I mean, everyone's under so much loaf in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, who could tell?
I'm like, I don't know who he was in there. I've seen John Wick Chapter 2, but I don't remember who he is in that
I
either.
don't remember him very well in it either.
He plays a recurring character in Parks and Rec, a show I love, but also I really got to figure out who he is then.
I think he's a Pine Bluffs. What's the town they hate?
Oh,
Like the Pawnees, like
yes. I can't remember right off the
Pawnee.
second. Interesting. That makes now that you're saying that, that's absolutely who he is. I love it. Okay, well. Now he's a traveling banjo minstrel. So name's Toot Toot.
I didn't write down the last name. I only remembered Toot Toot, but I was like Toot Toot Snuffleupagus or whatever. I was just like, yes, 100%. I'm into it. I'm into this character. I hope he comes back. I couldn't remember if he did or not, and I was just like, oh, damn. But yeah, I do think, now that the Society of the Blind Eye has been disbanded, I think we're going to see a lot more like town reaction to stuff. And when I say a lot more, because again, we're like focusing on Mabel and Dipper and Grunkle Stan. So it'll probably be in the background. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that also. Now that we've released the town from their foggy haze. One other thing actually two other things before we move on from this episode, because I am who I am.
because of who you are as a person.
I love freaking. I'll end on McGucket because he's precious. He's baby and needs to be protected at all costs. I really like Seuss's license plate. I don't know if you guys clocked it, but it was like Fixin' It 1.
Yep, Fixin' It 1.
Fixin' It number 1.
Fixin' It 1.
Which I absolutely adore. there was also, I mean, of course, we sort of glossed over the whole plot of the thing, but like, you know, McGucket mentions this machine and that the machine stopped working. And of course, we get the end tag with Stan obviously working, implied that he's obviously working on this machine and getting it to work. And it's slowly sucking things into it like a black hole. And I'm just like, oh, it's supposed to be doing that. That's great. Stan gets a cut on his hand, and I mean, I can mention it now, but like I appreciate the show for having the realistic, he is hurt and we see the bandage on his hand in the next episode. Like,
Yeah.
a realistic, like, oh, he has been hurt. Like, this is a thing that happened, and this is a thing he goes out into the world and is like, I have this bandage on my hand. Which I'm just amazed that we didn't even have the kids be like, Uncle Stan, what happened? You know, I wonder.
That? Yeah.
I wonder if that was on the cutting room floor. But yeah, no, McGucket.
Or Stan just like hurts himself sometimes, and there's no. It happens often enough that it's not even worth commenting on at that point.
I mean,
especially since he's constantly like building his giant cryptids and this and that, right?
Like they see
when
him
he's
doing
sewing
enough
the wing
things.
onto the, you know,
Exactly. They see him doing enough stuff that like him hurting his hand. Well, that clearly happened when he was blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no.
I know. I
It's
just
easy
feel
to
like
figure out
Mabel
what
would
it-
ask.
She would. That's true. She would.
You know
But
what
she
I'm
probably
saying?
would say,
Like,
"Oh,
they
it was when
might
I
be
was
like,
making.
oh,
It was when I
Grunkle
was fixing the
Stan.
Gromoblin's cage."
Oh, Grunkle Stan, you dropped the hammer again, didn't you? Like, I mean, just something.
Exactly.
Like, I just feel like one of them would have asked him. I like that old man McGucket has a newspaper which has the first memory he can remember, which had disoriented man found at the museum, and then slow news today, and then there was a picture of a deer. Which I was just like, I love everything about this.
On some level, though, like seeing him in his little, and you can't even call it a house, like his little
Hovel?
shack. Hovel, yeah,
It's
exactly. His
basically
little
a
hovel.
cave. It's basically a cave built out of junk in his junkyard. Like, he is living in a junk
Yes.
cave.
I know, but like the fact that he's living in this junk cave, the fact that he can't remember anything,
I know.
and that he's clearly like trying to piece things together, because why else would you collect newspaper articles about yourself, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know.
"Ah."
It's like you think about it a little too hard and you like make yourself sad.
Oh no! One of my notes for this episode was, "Get ready to feel sad about McGucket."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because if you think about it, like you said, just a little bit too hard, you're like, why wasn't anyone helping this man?
I know. There's no infrastructure in Gravity Falls for people like McGucket. He's just
Which is
clearly-
weird considering the Society for the Blind Eye. Like you'd think there were enough government officials in that group we saw. Like someone could have put together like a department for the confused or something.
but they've been sapping their memories for too long.
Mhm.
But I also love that he's the one that saves the day. Like, they get captured and McGucket is the one that brings out all the hillbilly weapons and is like, fight! Oh, also pneumatic tubes. I get really excited when I see pneumatic tubes, and I was just very excited to see pneumatic tubes under this museum. It made sense. It wasn't like, why is
Joy,
this
I
here?
want you to know, on my
Like-
list, I literally have love a good pneumatic tube gag.
Love a good pneumatic tube gag. I love the keep away. I love the keep away scene where they're
Yes.
using the pneumatic tubes to keep the memory tube away from each other.
Yeah.
All of that is good. I have a follow-up question about the pneumatic tubes, though.
Yes.
Like, when they finally get into the Hall of the Forgotten, it looks like there are like dozens of tubes leading into that room.
Oh, there's
Am
hundreds.
I being led to believe that there are pneumatic tubes, like a pneumatic tube system all over this town? Or do the pneumatic tubes all come from elsewhere in that building? Because when they were playing Keep Away with the pneumatic tubes, I was like, okay, so also this is all a pneumatic tube system that doesn't make sense.
You have asked a question I've never thought of before, and even with all of the banjo polish in my brain, I don't have a good answer to that question.
I
feel like the answer
need the
is
pneumatic
yes.
tube schematic. I need pneumatic schematics. I need it.
I feel like I feel like there was a comic that goes into more about the pneumatic tubes. That I believe the answer to your question actually is yes.
That there's a system of pneumatic tubes throughout the town.
I think so. I think so.
I mean,
they don't.
So
obviously, they don't harp on it.
I want that I so desperately want that to be true, though. That is simply my headcanon now.
I mean, I love it. I love it.
I hope I haven't just lied
more.
to you. I will double check. But
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Love it. Love it.
I think. Okay, so that was everything I had on that episode. Was there anything else we didn't talk about?
I have an important one more thing that I think you'll agree with me about this.
Sure.
Who's amongst us hasn't wanted to throw someone's CD out of a car window?
I mean, I do.
He
my
who
favorite
has
part
not
about that
wanted to hit eject and yeet. Let them.
My favorite part about that is that she regrets it immediately, and she's like, "I will buy you a new CD."
Because she knew it was a dick move. She was like, "Oh, I just threw out my friend's property. I should probably make amends on that."
Yeah, I mean, like Wendy is the other like real MVP in this episode, right? Because it's like I know I play it really cool, but inside I'm really stressed. And if you met my family,
it's true, and she should say it.
It's true, and she should say it. Oh my God, Blendon's Game.
Confessions.
Blendon's Game. This is in my top 3 episodes. This is in my top 3 episodes. I love all the future nonsense. It's so stupid. I love
Lolf and Dundgren never ceases to make me laugh.
I mean, there's reasons for that. No, but like I love the time authority. I love the big time baby and his nonsense. I love the Glabnar. I love all of it. I love every single thing about it. It's so dumb.
It's so dumb and it's so good. Like, of course there's an infinitentiary.
I love how this episode is simultaneously the most like ridiculous, but then also get ready to feel real bad about Seuss.
That's the thing. I love Joy knows there are very few things I love more in this world than things that somehow bring time travel and like friendship or love together into one story.
Boy, are you watching the right series.
Like if there is a series, a movie, a TV show that involves both love and or friendship and time travel, I am there. I am watching it.
Same, honestly. Like, it's one of my favorite. You know how people are like, "What are your bulletproof tropes?" Like any trope in a fanfic. If there's time travel, I am there.
There,
I will at least click.
I just
is your favorite thing about this episode the time baby? I like when the time baby's burped. It's a nice little touch at the end of it.
I love the time baby so much. It has big Johnny Tea Time energy from Centaur World.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Like, tell me it doesn't. You can't. It's lying. Like, so much Johnny Tea Time.
I feel like when I watched Centaur World, I had that same reaction.
I love
the time baby.
I love like so. I mean, we can talk about the future and how ridiculous it is. I like that the time cops are just bad. They're just bad at this. Like, I also who was surprised, and by surprised I mean not surprised, when Mabel was like, "I'm not going to be anyone's gram," and I'm just like, she's determined not to have children.
Yeah, she has just announced that she's not having kids.
She basically just announced that she's never having children, and I'm like, good for you, Mabel. Well done.
Good for you.
Good for her.
I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that's like, you rolled deception and you got a nat 20. Like, I feel like the first thing they should do in time school is like time cop school is tell you about like, so you
here are your relatives.
Yeah, here are your relatives. You can even do a special scan with your Scanatron timey-wimey nonsense to see if you're genetically related.
They're trying to prevent the Philip J. Fry Gambit? Like they're just trying to make that not happen.
But like, I feel like you should be able to know, if you are a time cop, you should be able to know who your relatives are in the past. I'm just saying, like,
yes.
And I appreciate
also,
that it's still a cartoon and like it's not about that. But
can we talk about Dipper like giving her how many greats to say?
Yeah.
Great.
Because
Like,
Dipper is the stem and Mabel is the jock.
It's so good.
Dipper has understood the generations needed to get to this point in time. But yes, it's probably,
like, he's done the
honestly,
math.
it's probably the Time Baby. I don't know if it's the Time Baby or the statue to the Time Baby, basically telling you that the Time Baby will come. I don't know which delights me more. Like there's a statue to the Time Baby in the very first sequence of this episode. And you might even miss it if you're not paying attention, but I think the soldiers eventually actually talk about the Time Baby, and I wrote down Time Baby ! Because I love the Time Baby. Easily one of my favorite one-off characters in the whole show. I do love that it's got a little robot nanny. They've got a little robot nanny. They have a big, deep voice. They basically look all powerful. And I'm like, yeah, I'd be afraid of that baby. I would be so terrified of that baby. Is it an eternal baby? Does the Time Baby just stay baby forever? Is it just, it's an eternal infant. Who wouldn't be scared of that? And that can fly. And obviously has too much brain power for its own good. Like, yes.
Can shoot lasers out of its eyes.
Yes, this Time Baby would be the ruler of whatever society I would find myself in, because I'm like, I mean, are you going to tell that Time Baby to take a nap? He's going to nap when he's ready. Like,
yeah. Yeah, he's calling the shots, unfortunately.
I know. But like, I wanted to talk about the future stuff so we could talk about the big feels in this episode, because there are some very big feels.
Just the biggest, the oofest.
I know. And like, I appreciate that now we understand why Seuss is like being taken care of by his grandmother, and like, and maybe it's Banjo Polish. We don't really have to talk about it, but like, I don't think we ever really find out what happened to his mother.
Nope.
My guess,
not that I can recall. We don't find out what happened to either of his parents. He just lived with Abuelita.
My guess was that like something happened to his mother, that his mother could no longer be there, and Abuelita was his mother's mother, is my headcanon. And the father he had is just a deadbeat and just basically dropped off the baby and is like, I'll be back, and like never came back. I don't know. I'm also such a sucker for like, and they were raised by their grandparents because their grandparents actually cared, like, yeah. I'm also a real sucker for those kinds of stories, and just, I don't know. I appreciated that a lot. Anyway, they find out that today is his birthday. It was like, well, why didn't you say anything? Because it's like, you would think Seuss, of all people, would be really excited about his own birthday. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, you find out that his birthday is just another reminder that his father never wants to be around and always has an excuse for never being there. Like, and I think it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's sort of implied later in the episode that he keeps getting the same postcard every year from New Orleans of just like, couldn't make it this year, champ, maybe next year. Because like, I don't think he held on to the one from when he was 8. I feel like that's a new one that he just received. Am I wrong in that?
No, I don't know. I think it's the old one. Because it's kind of dog-eared, isn't it?
Oh, you mean the one at the end of the episode that he tosses into the garbage?
Yeah.
Yes, I read that as the same one he got when he was a kid. But like when he was a kid and he got that postcard, he put it into a box that had a ton of other postcards in it, right? So like regardless of whether Dad continued to send them post Seuss's 8th birthday, 8th question mark?
12.
How old was he there? 12? Oh, there we go. Yeah.
He's the age that Dipper and Mabel are, which is funny.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He's a legal drinking age. Love that for Seuss.
I love everything about Seuss.
I'm always going to be a fan of a story where characters realize that they have found love, like romantic or otherwise, outside of the areas where they expected it. Right? Like I'm always going to be a fan of that kind of story. And so Joy, like that moment, you know, speaking of Abuelita, like that moment we get where she's outside of his bedroom holding the dino cookies and she's like, if his father ever comes back, I'm going to rip him limb from limb, you know? And then the minute she steps into the room, she like flips a coin.
Yeah, she like, and she fixes herself and has a moment of like, whew, and then she walks in and is all sweet.
Look, we stand Abuelita in this house.
And then, of course, the reveal at the end of this episode, not to skip all the way to the end, but I think we'll just talk about this episode in loops because it's all a time loop anyway.
It's a time
right?
loop, exactly.
So you have to talk about it in loops. But like skipping to the end of the episode, the fact that like the gooey center in the middle of this episode is the fact that Seuss had people who love and care about him all along. And here they are wanting to celebrate his birthday. I was like, oh, it's catnip.
I know.
There it is. That's my catnip.
You're loved, Seuss Ramirez. Like,
my favorite thing about that is like the shock on Dipper and Mabel's faces of like, what do you mean you like healed us up from our fight? You know?
I'm so glad that he also got infinite pizza. Like, I'm so glad that Seuss did that. And got an exceptionally good thing.
I also like that everyone was like
everyone's reaction.
Yeah, no, good use of the wish. Yeah,
Ooh,
perfect.
All right, good.
Very like 10-10.
One of the things that's really funny is in this episode, it is established that it is both Seuss's birthday and it is July 13th. There is no calendar way that it could still be July at this point in the show. Like it's an actual like a continuity error.
Oh,
because in the third journal in the book, this happens sometime between July 29th and August 22nd.
Yeah.
Oh,
isn't Summerween supposed to be at the end of July?
I thought Summerween was supposed to be the beginning of July, but I could be wrong.
I'd have to look it up.
I'm terrible at remembering dates.
Well, it also like you can't in this show because the dates are made up and the time doesn't matter. Like,
well, I also kind
like
of wondered.
I'm being a total dork, being like, actually, it couldn't happen at the date on July 13th. Like,
well, I'm
being the pedant here, but.
I also wondered if the episode wasn't planned to air earlier because, you know, this is like it's like a character backstory episode. And for me, I was just like, I wonder if they were trying to figure out like, how do we make, like, do we keep all the time cop stuff in season 1? You know what I mean? Like, I kept staring at that.
I think the moment with little kid Wendy doesn't work unless it's after Into the Bunker.
I mean, maybe. I don't know the timeline of the show, as I stated way in the beginning, because the timeline of the show is spaghetti in my brain, and I'll never be able to figure it out.
I mean, the timeline of the show is kind of spaghetti anyway. Like, you're not wrong. But I feel like
I literally can't hold a thought of where the episodes fall. Like, it just doesn't. It works in other shows that for some reason are even more episodic. For some reason, more episodic shows, I can actually pinpoint exactly how things happen because the episodes have to do with the underlying, like, and this is the lesson we learned from the show, and this is how it grows the plot, and this is all this other stuff. Even if it's Monster of the Week, it's like, you know, the Hansel and Gretel episode of Buffy, and it's just like, aha, I know exactly where that happens in the timeline of both Buffy's relationship with her mother and her relationship with Giles, and I literally know exactly the lesson it teaches Buffy. This show, I'm like, I don't know, I could have sworn the Time Baby happened in season 1. I got nothing. Like,
I mean, I feel like that's a function of live action versus animation, personally, because
and then you have Avatar: The Last Airbender, where I'm like, I know every single moment in that show and where and why it happens.
I mean, that has the same thing as what I was going to say about live action, where especially in Buffy, when, you know, it started in the early 90s and then ended in, you know, 99. Was it 99?
No, it ended in 2002, I believe.
2002. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the point though that makes my point even better because it's like the difference in the way the actors would be styled were so vastly, like just so wildly different that you can look at something and go, oh, that's 95. Oh no, that's 2001.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's like I can imagine this scene in my head and Zuko's hair is short. So
Right.
obviously we're talking post X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Meanwhile,
And all
in
the
this
Avatar
show,
The Last
everyone always
Airbender
looks the
fans
same.
knew exactly what you were talking about. But like,
exactly, like for an animated series, Avatar does a really good job at putting visual distinguishers, like visual cues, where you are in the show, where you are in the series, where they are in the world, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you see a season 3 episode and the gang are in red, well, they're in the Fire Nation, and that has to be season 3.
That's a good point. That makes sense to me. Now, I will say, I feel like, because I don't know, I feel like that moment with Dipper and young Wendy, I like it better. I like it better here, like post in the
Post
bunker.
into the
Everything,
bunker,
yeah.
Because
I agree.
Exactly. Like, I like that it confirms for him that he and Wendy sort of made the right decision, right? And that it's truly best that that relationship never happened and that he's to a point moved on romantically. Not 100%, but he's getting there, you know? But I think that if that had happened before Into the Bunker, like we also could have made it could have made sense, right? It could have been like maybe one of his first little inklings as to, perhaps this isn't quite the thing that I am imagining.
But I'm imagining it to be.
Right. Like I could see it. I could see the moment landing both ways, but I do prefer this one.
I mean, it's also like, because those moments, like, I think I'm not explaining this right. I'm also not saying this episode whole cloth would have been in season 1. I'm saying the episode as they were writing it, maybe they thought this should slot into season 1 and they moved it over later. Like the June 13th joke makes me think, like, you guys meant to put that somewhere in season 1, and then you were like, it doesn't really fit here. Let's move it over here. Besides, we don't need people to fall in love with Seuss. People are going to fall in love with Seuss. Like, Seuss is testing really well, I have to assume, because Seuss is amazing. So I'm pretty sure it was just like, let's just move the backstory along, and people will keep watching the show, and they'll keep watching the show, and they'll see it. But, like, I'm not saying they wrote it, they shot it, and they just moved it down. I'm saying they originally were like, hey, we can bring back the time people and have them happen, whatever, season 1, episode 18, as opposed to episode 7.
It does feel kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
At this point in the series.
I literally wrote down, the first sentence I wrote down was, "We are in the future!" ! Like, this episode could have happened at any time and place. You also didn't have to have the moment with Wendy, right? And that only makes sense because of the bunker. Like that, it's like 4 seconds of the episode you don't even have to have. In my opinion, Dipper needs it, so I'm glad it's there.
Yeah.
It serves a purpose.
It does.
That is a really good point. You really could just copy paste this entire episode and move it to season 1.
Except for that one moment.
Like, I also really enjoy, okay, so we were talking about like the kind of found family aspect for Seuss, where like, not like he doesn't have someone who cares about him at home, but he also has all of these other people as well who care about him. My favorite thing about that is like, not only you expect Wendy to be like, yeah, like Seuss just has some trauma there and we don't really talk about it, but we know it's there, so we don't talk about his birthday. And then you have Grunkle Stan, who cared enough to try to get the date removed from calendars because it made Seuss sad.
I love that.
The worst,
and that's
the worst
why I'm
kept
not allowed
secret.
on airplanes anymore.
The worst kept secret is that Stan Pines is a big old softie. That's the worst kept secret.
It's very true.
He's big squishy man. Big old squishy man. But I also love that he went at it so violently that now he's on a no-fly list. You know what I mean? Like, he went too hard about it, and I'm just like, yes, of course, Stan. Stan Pines went too hard.
I'm trying to. What do you think he did? Because this is obviously the time this conversation is happening is post Twitter, but I feel like this happening would have been pre Twitter. So like, is he writing letters? Is he sending faxes? What is he doing?
I mean, because he's an old man, I feel like he's writing letters. I feel like he is making appointments with government officials to like, you know what I mean? Like maybe not in person, maybe phone calls. I feel like Stan's a phone call person. Like he's made several vehement phone calls to get this date removed from the calendar. And then he got one very angry phone call back that was just like, we're putting you on a no-fly list. Please stop calling the Pentagon. You know? Like,
never call this number again.
Or
Actually,
he
maybe
literally,
Joy.
or he literally stormed the Pentagon and they were just like, you can't do that in a post 9/11 world, sir. You are now on a no-fly list. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I know that he seems like a phone call kind of guy because he's because he's pinching pennies, because he's not gonna fly all over the country going to visit government officials. But I feel like this one time he did. And that's what they got him for.
I agree.
See, now I'm headcanoning that he met up with the director character from the conspiracy theory show on Netflix that was made by the same people. Oh gosh,
I'm not good at this game.
You're not good at this game. I should be good at this game, but it's not clicking. You'll remember halfway through talking about the last episode.
I can tell you the name of the woman who's created the show. Inside Job.
I'm working my way through that very slowly for some reason. It's a lot of
I
show.
am very mad that it did not get renewed for a third season because, boy, that season finale though. That was a series finale. It concluded nothing.
That's so frustrating.
It's very
so frustrating.
Very Battlestar Galactica's prequel.
Once again, I am very thankful that Gravity Falls knew exactly what it wanted to be. It's a two season show, two and done. Knew exactly what it wanted to do, what it wanted to say. End of story.
And we get a nice little bow at the end, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Love that for us. Okay, we have to talk about episode 9, The Love God.
Yes. Oh man, Thompson for the win.
Thompson.
He just wants some friends.
He just wants friends.
How did they do this to me 3 episodes in a row? It's like episode 7, feel terrible about McGucket and how no one is taking care of him. Episode 8, feel terrible about Seuss and the fact that he has trauma, but I guess it's okay because now he has found family. Episode 9, feel terrible about Thompson.
But everyone got back together, and that's what he wanted, Danielle.
Yeah, but they got back together by bullying him. I'm like, come on, folks. Like, let's get it together. Like, there was just some level where I know that I have to believe that the show is doing this intentionally, but I do not think Wendy's friends are cool. There is no part of me that wants to be part of that friend group. I don't like that they're mean to Thompson. And I like the silly, pranky stuff doesn't really bother me. Like the fact that they get a kick out of licking a dirty sponge. I'm like, whatever, fine. Get your kicks wherever you want to find them. But I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, all right, so the best episode of The Simpsons that ever aired is The Summer of 4'2". And the friend group in that episode of The Simpsons reminds me, I mean, they're both written by the same people. So Josh Weinstein was involved in both episodes. The vibe of the friend group is very similar. I don't know. Did you see The Simpsons? Is that a show you saw much of?
No, not really.
I also probably can't recognize it by the name of the episode.
It is the episode where they go to a town in New England and Lisa basically like reinvents herself and dressed in the best like 1996 disaffected teenage drag ever. and she becomes friends with these kids that she meets on the beach, and it's very Wendy and her friends. Like the vibes are very similar.
And I never thought of that. Trying not to be smart.
It's not that she's trying not to be smart. It's that she doesn't want her new friends to see that she was in the grammar rodeo.
I mean, listen, like that's the thing. Like I am sort of here for the like small town friend group vibe. You know, like having grown up in a small community myself, I know that sometimes you just like become friends with someone in kindergarten, and that is simply who you have to be friends with for the next 12 years of your life, right? And probably the most exciting thing you do is like sit in one specific place and talk, because that is your that is your place, right? Mm-hmm. But I guess I feel like maybe this is apples and oranges, but it's like, who do I prefer? The cool kids, heavy quotes, the cool kids from this show, or the cool kids from Steven Universe?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Steven Universe any day.
I think the kids from Steven Universe are much better developed characters.
Yeah.
And are supposed to be better people, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair. That's why I started with like apples and oranges, like bit of an unfair comparison. And I would rather be with those small town buddies than these small town buddies.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's a lot of 2012. It's 2012 vibes. It's like 2012 vibes. And then I look at them and I'm like, okay, I have some friends and granted, I went to high school in the 90s, graduated in 2001. So it's obviously before 2012, but I have some friends from high school that I would reconnect with. And I would be like, yeah, you were mean. And they were like, yeah, I was. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what was going on. Aww. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like Thompson's going to grow up to be an adult and be like, you guys like picked on me. You know that, right? And they're like, yeah. Like, especially Wendy's going to be like, I know, bro, I'm so sorry. Like, Robbie might be like, yeah, but you took it so well. You know what I mean? Because Robbie.
I feel like Thompson does not acknowledge the power he has. He's the one with the car.
Yeah.
He's the one with the car.
The glue that holds the group together.
He's just so great.
Like, he could be like, you guys are going to stop picking on me, or I'm going to stop driving you around, and they'd all, straighten up and fly right. But he never says that.
Because he's Thompson.
Right.
I mean, I think also ultimately he doesn't want to admit that the reason they hang with him is because he has money and he has a car. Doesn't he also buy them all tickets to the concert too?
He does, but he says that he has to sell a watch to do it.
Well, I'm saying but he is the one with access to funds, and he's like, I'm just gonna like drop cash. Like, there's an element to you're hanging out with your very rich friend because your very rich friend opens doors for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
so that's one side of the episode. Oh, sorry.
Yes. Well, yeah, I too was gonna transition into something else. But yeah, no.
What are you transitioning into?
I feel like I could talk an entire episode about the love god himself, but I'm going to try and keep it to like, I really enjoy that. I mean,
so good.
I love the voice actor also, original Bender, as well as a million other things. But I just so enjoy that, like, a cherub Cupid essentially just being like, I mean, Tinder and OkCupid exists, so like, what am I gonna do? I don't know. I thought I'd work on my music career. I'm just like, bless this adorable, fat as hell little cherub. I love him so much.
I mean, it was giving Jack Black. Like, they clearly wanted to cast Jack Black.
They clearly wanted to cast Jack Black. I even looked it up because I was like, you don't sound like Jack Black, but you are acting like Jack Black. I was like, you give Jack Black
they clearly
vibes.
Animated him drawing him and basing him off Jack Black with a bleach job.
Oh, yeah. No, 2,000%. Like, there is no way that you're going to tell me like a woman approaches a Jack Black-esque cherub angel and is just like, would you write your name on my face? And like, only if you write your name on my face, let's get weird. Like, that's 100% a Jack Black quote. Like,
And you have just found my favorite line read in the entire series.
Yay!
Like, every time I see that, I lose my mind. Because it's, first off, it is a very suggestive line for a Disney show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Very true.
There's a whole lot about the love god is a little far, and I will put a pin in that for a second. But
I mean, like when he tumbles out of the van, and in the van are two of his groupies.
Yup. So this is one of the episodes
Bisexual
where a same-sex couple got edited out.
Oh, really?
In the diner when he talks to that woman. And the woman like goes over and ends up with that guy who's sitting at the counter.
Okay.
I forget if she was supposed to be drawn as a man or if he was supposed to be originally drawn as a woman, but that was supposed to be a same-sex couple. And SNP said no.
Yeah.
Man.
2012.
Yep.
2012. It's okay. This show has no TP same-sex couple I can get behind.
It does. It does.
But yes, it would be nice if it were a little bit more obvious and just like if the text were text and not subtext.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I think it took till 2019 for us to get a show that had the text be text.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That wasn't like the last shot of the show looking at you, Avatar Korra.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
We're popping the biggest bottles. No, you're not. If you don't know what that's about, kids, just Google poppin' bottles and Mako.
Okay. What else is there to talk about in this episode? Because Joy,
Alexander Hamilton.
The fact that Mabel is in love with the guy from the $10 bill.
From the $10.
That breaks Nella every time.
I mean, like, because this was written in like 2012 or 2013. Mm-hmm. So far before Alexander Hamilton was a historical figure anyone thought about with any regularity other than Nella and our friend Hillary. And Ron Chernow, of course. But like, yeah, just guy from the $10 bill. I forgot I had a crush on you. Like, just gold.
I mean, Alexander Hamilton on the $10 bill is a very attractive founding father. Like, I don't know.
Like he's got a little bit of that. little bit of blue, like a little bit of blue steel, a little bit of K-pop going on. Like there's a lot going on there, but it's all going on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. As I Google a $10 bill to see what the face looks like, how embarrassing is that? You should. I was like, wait, let me just like get myself a quick visual.
He's adorable. It makes you like, you know, just like the musical says, just like Martha Washington had a feral tomcat named after him. That's true.
That's true.
Like,
it's true.
My boy got around because he was a very attractive man, and now he's forever on the $10 bill.
Yeah.
I love that I didn't even know who that was, and had I heard that joke in 2012, I probably also would have been like, lol, did you have crush on people on money? That's hilarious. I concur.
Just like right over the heads of everybody.
So I really I wrote down that I appreciate waddles and golpers.
Goat and a pig. That song is so funny.
So good.
Goat and a pig. Like it's a banger. It's a bop.
I 100% believe that had they gotten Jack Black, he would have had Tenacious D do that song at the end of the thing. Like I 100%.
Can I live in the universe where that happened, please? I would like to live in the universe where that happened. I believe there are flying cars there.
The pipeline of Jack Black playing the Love God to him singing "Goat and a Pig" is like a direct route with no traffic lights. Like,
oh God! Like I kind of want to like at him on social media and be like, can you just cover this song, please?
What if you just covered the song? It would literally make my day. I also wrote down, I think maybe I just am Mrs. Valentino. I feel like I just am Mrs. Valentino. I feel like I'm Robbie's mom. I feel like I'm too sweet and nice, and then I say something really super dark, about like, oh no, I hope nobody died.
Like, you know who would look great in that sweater? Mrs. So-and-so's remains.
God.
Like, I don't know. I felt very seen and very confused all at once. Like, maybe I'm just Robbie's mom. I don't know what to tell you. I wrote down that Mabel's cardboard game is on point because she has the whole town in cardboard and then all the little...
Oh, yes.
She has Robbie and then all of, like, the eligible bachelorettes.
Oh,
I think that's a
cardboard.
holdover from the sock opera, actually.
See,
It might be.
Yes, definitely. And the reason it didn't click when you said cardboard is that I was just like so focused on the figurines themselves. And in my brain, those are made out of wood. So I was like, oh, wooden figurines.
I almost wrote down that they were wood. And then I realized, no, she doesn't have time for wood. And also, that's not wood. Like, they had a close-up, and I was like, holy crap, that's cardboard. That's 100% cardboard.
It's cardboard.
It's cardboard.
That makes total sense.
Like, because I was staring at it, and I was like, look, I know Mabel gets into some arts and crafts, but I was like, 1,000% that's cardboard. You didn't whittle a bunch of wood. Like, that takes time. You have one summer, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, then, to your point, her cardboard game is truly on point because the multi-bear figurine
Yes,
I miss the multi-bear.
wait. Not only was there a multi-bear figurine, my favorite part about that scene is that the multi-bear goes in the maybe pile.
I personally think the
Okay,
multi-bear
so
and Robbie
there's-
would make a great match.
All right, so you guys are joking. There's actually an amazing fanfic.
Uh-huh.
Oh God, I forget what it's called. I know it's by a fic writer I adore. Their handle is Burgle Bezelment, which is one of the crimes that Stan is. We find out that Stan is accused of,
Nice.
and I forget what it was called, but it's basically a Robbie and the man and the multi-bear coffee shop AU.
That's amazing.
Bless.
Must find. Must
Yeah.
read.
My favorite line from this episode is "Love is real and it's in your face."
That's
Love is real
Okay,
and
wait.
it's what?
Love is real and it's in your face.
this
your face?
actually. Yes. These 3 episodes had so many good lines. I would have a hard time picking one from that episode, but the one that stood out to me and the one I wrote out was the description of the anti-love potion. Or rather, the instructions for the anti-love potion. Simply spray on your victim and watch their heart die on the inside. And Dipper's like, sounds great.
Yeah, this won't cause lifetime problems for these people. It's fine. This is fine.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously the point of this episode is that Mabel learn, that she just can't play God with people's emotions and their hearts. Which it's a good lesson to learn. Especially when you have literal...
It's a good lesson to learn, but she learns it by not undoing the thing that she did.
I mean, fair. But I'm also sitting here like, I feel like the love god would have been like, hang on, I have to undo that for you. And he didn't. You know what I mean?
Well, he couldn't tell her that she did the correct thing because that's...
Oh, no.
You can't
I'm not
have a
asking him
mortal
to. I'm absolutely not asking him to. I'm
saying-
just saying he didn't himself undo the thing she did. So I'm like, that
Right.
unofficially has the love god's blessing.
Well, no, I'm saying it's official. I'm saying that there's a reason he didn't undo it, and I'm saying that Mabel was correct that they should be together, but he couldn't tell her that because that would encourage her. that would give her the incorrect the negative reinforcement, if you will.
Oh,
Like,
no, yeah.
He can't.
I don't want him to tell her. I'm with you on that. I
No.
don't want that to be said. I want him to say what he said, which is you can't play God with people's emotions. Like, you don't understand what you're doing. I've literally been doing this for thousands of years. I get it. Which, by the way, the badger and the snake is still my favorite pairing in the whole thing.
Snadger.
It gives real Ace vibes.
Another fanfic author you guys should check out because they're great. But Danielle, I strongly recommend waiting till we're finished with the series because all of these people, it's just banjo polish all the way down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't touch any fic until we're done.
I won't.
Unless it's written before 2015, then you're okay.
But even then, like some people also add chapters. Like I just wouldn't. But we'll be done with the show in more than enough time.
Yeah.
Soon.
I mean, speaking of queer energy, and maybe we're getting into one more things. My brain, I don't know why my brain does this because I don't know, gender is a construct. I watched the body surfing scene and was like, the 3 genders. The person that's like, oh, thanks for getting me from point A to point B. This feels really nice. Hi, everybody. The person who's like, there are so many people touching me now. I just desperately want you to stop. And the single-minded god who was just like, give me back my stuff. Like, who doesn't even care. The 3 genders of body surfing.
There you go.
That's excellent. I
Have
love
either of you
that
ever
was
crowd
your
surfed?
like. No, I have not.
I did it when I was like 15. I have not since.
I would be the second of those people, and this is part of the reason I would never crowd surf, which is that no, I don't want anyone that I do not know touching me.
Which,
No,
you know,
thank
fair.
I'm probably the 4th gender of that, which is everyone's going to drop me and I will never, ever, ever allow anyone to do that because the last thing I want to do is be dropped.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's no fun.
No, I don't, you know what? I don't need to be dropped. Just not even gonna try. Mm-mm. To be fair, anywhere where I could have
Dipper wasn't
possibly
that
body
person.
surfed already had like a mosh pit that I'm sure I would have gotten hurt in. So I was also just like, and no, what if they throw me into the mosh pit? Absolutely not. Like, I also don't go to concerts. So I'm just like, no, that's okay. I'm
don't
good.
Attend music events.
Music events. I literally went to the movies to see Taylor Swift perform. Like, I'm fine.
I mean, you're saving yourself at least $3,000 by doing that, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, I'm also just like, that's a lot of people I do not know, probably drinking and taking drugs I do not understand and may or may not endanger my personal being. What if I just didn't? I could just stay home. Like, more than happy to stay home. Absolutely. So yeah, I guess the 4th gender is like, don't kill me, which is where I fall. Like, please don't kill me.
Or don't fall, as the case may be.
Too anxious to function.
Is that one more things? Are we at one more things? 2 more one more things?
We should be because we're at an hour and 15. So give us your one more things because Danielle is to pack.
I've got some one more things. So I've got 2. So let's see. Make sure that I don't have anything from. Okay. So my one more things are when Mabel kicks the guy in the codpiece and he goes, Digicod, the smart codpiece. I was like,
so good.
We're done.
Yeah.
Pack it up. We're gone. Shut it down.
1,000%. I'm gonna invest in that company now so that in the future, when Time Baby takes over, I will be a billionaire.
Exactly. Also, Mabel going, is this a reality show? Are we in Japan?
Yeah, Mabel had a lot of really good just nonsense one-liners. Oh no, I forgot to talk about. Oh wait, Danielle, you should say your thing, and then if it's not the thing I want to say, I'll say it.
No, you can say your thing. Say your thing.
Okay, well, I love that Mermando is marrying the queen, like the princess of the manatees. And I love that Mabel is like, she's so beautiful. And I'm like, yes, she is. She's gorgeous. I don't know. There's something about like having a manatee bride. And I'm just like, oh no, but that's actually kind of perfect. It's so sweet. I hope they have tons of babies.
So sweet.
No.
I love it.
The balloon crash.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't talk about the balloon at all.
Kids.
This horrifying balloon.
I eat kids.
I think all of us tried to blot it out of our memories. We tried to memory gun it out.
I just
didn't work.
What a beautiful metaphor for anyone, even remotely like Grunkle Stan related, trying to relate to the youths
Hello, fellow kids. I eat kids.
I eat kids. We typed I heart kids into the memory gizmo, and that's why we weren't able to delete that balloon from our brain. I don't even know if I have a one more thing. I mean, there were a few like little funny one-liners that we didn't get a chance to talk about. Like, I feel like the Society of the Blind Eye actually had some pretty funny lines and were allowed to be goofy.
Yeah.
In a way that I really enjoyed. But
well,
maybe
the way that
go.
I think the way that that entire concept isn't entirely horrific is if you play it for a joke. Otherwise, it's just like, welcome to consentless land. And then it's problems. Just problems all the time.
Yeah. Fair.
Think about it a little
so I
too
thought they were
hard.
allowed to be goofy, and that was a nice little balance. I enjoyed a rare sort of Mabel, not rare. I know that this happens all the time, but this is one of my favorite ones, which is when Mabel and Dipper have sort of that twin moment where they point out that twins are born birthday experts. They share every birthday, so they know how to make a birthday perfect.
I also like when they
Little
take care of
high
the
five.
bearded band in unison.
Yes.
The handlebar bros.
Yeah.
Handlebar bros. Handlebar
There
bros.
was a Grunkle
Oh, man.
Stan moment with Zeus that I just remembered, and I had forgotten to write it down.
Oh, the credit scene.
Yeah. I mean, that one's also lovely, but I do also love Grunkle Stan being like, I need to scratch myself in two places at once. And I'm just like, Grunkle Stan, Zeus works for you. That just don't be inappropriate about it.
That's not appropriate. Totes and appropriate, bro.
Totes inappropriate. I was desperate for
Zeus to do
Zeus to pick
anything
up
for the
like a
Pine
back
family.
scratcher and be like, and I will not be touching your uncle, and like walk away.
Basically.
Bless. Oh,
Bless.
that was I think I started to say this point and then I got lost on a tangent because welcome to the show. But the additional thing about like Grunkle Stan also really caring about Zeus, the thing I also really like because of all the timey-wimey nonsense is the Dipper and Mabel are the reason that Zeus actually shows up at the Mystery Shack and like the reason that he meets everybody and he eventually gets this found family. And I love that. Like he finds the screwdriver and he returns it to Grunkle Stan and then suddenly he's wanted and needed. And like, you know, Grunkle Stan becomes that father figure, even though he's a grumpy old man, you know, it's so great. I love it so much.
And
that's
time travel episodes. Like I love a timey-wimey wibbly wobbly where like, if, well, that hadn't happened, then this wouldn't have happened, but that was in the future. This was in the past. It's all good. I love it all.
Yes, agree.
Particularly when it has a GUI center. Okay. But with that, we really do need to wrap up this episode. Jill, do you want to share your deets?
Yeah, check me out. Mixlabradorite, MXLABRADORITE. Pretty much everywhere. That's my Blue Sky. That's my TikTok. I'm around. Yeah.
Google, use it. No.
I'm the only Jill Friedman in the phone book. I am not.
And now if you're looking for more Binge O'Clock, you can check us out on Twitter and Facebook, where you can answer the question. Oh gosh, I forgot the question. Where you can answer the question, what is your goofy hipster band name? You can also email us at bingeoclockpod@gmail.com. And don't forget, we have a Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/bongpod.
That's right. And tell your friends, tell your family, tell your loved ones, tell the live lobsters in your life about Binge O'Clock, and we will see you next time.